Hey, grace and peace. I haven't been on in the mornings in a while. I said I was going to drop this video. I'm going to start doing more content and putting it on Patreon and just having discussions with certain people. Y'all know I've been involved in this whole apologetic thing and this whole Israelite movement thing for a minute. And it seems like people want to up the ante. There's a lot of false information out there. Some people say, if you're not claiming to be Israelite, why would you go so hard for the movement? I go hard for truth. And the only way people are going to get to the truth is with right information. And that's kind of where we've been having some problems at. There's a lot of people that's under the impression, for some reason, for one reason or another, there's a lot of people that are under the impression that the Bible is an Israelite book and for Israelites only. I don't know where a lot of this madness is coming from, but it's out here. And the only thing that's going to straighten it out is some teachings. That is I often tell people, y'all been hearing me say in videos that this thing is bigger than urban apologists. And it definitely is, because there's a lot of pastors that's getting in contact with me and they say that they're watching videos and they're listening to things, and people are troubled with the level of truth that's being set forth. Historical truth. Can we change history totally? Can we totally change history around? And 2 or 3 pastors, they got in touch with me specifically because a brother said that Joseph Smith, the head of the Mormon church, the guy that the founder of the Mormon church, that he was a black man and he was an Israelite. Now, I put that video out there to show people that it's a bunch of madness that's out here. Not saying he represents all Israelites, just like myself don't represent all Christians out here. But there's some main core beliefs that we all have, and we have to deal with some of that stuff. Let me see if this stuff is coming. I'm not sure if that stuff is coming up there in the recording. I'll go back and I'll look. I didn't turn the notifications off. I normally don't get a lot of calls on this phone. And there's people out here that's going in. Some people go in for getting information out there for they claim for scholarly purposes. Other people because they want to bang, they want to stop a music. Some people not knowing, they may want to continue in traditional Western Christianity, which has been cloaked which have been solely closely tied with European supremacy. You know, the Klan is a Christian organization. We've seen the truth of a lot of European evangelicals with this whole thing with Donald Trump and prophesying this and that and all type of madness. So we got to be careful, even in the midst of me putting out this information. And some things I just don't want to be out there for everybody. You know, some people say, well, some of the questions are troubling. Of course they're troubling, but we got to ask certain questions to get down to the truth. Plain and simple, we got to ask certain questions to get down to the truth. And it's a lot of nonsense out here on all sides. I'm going to leave y'all with this, and I'm going to go in on it tonight. The guy, Alan Parr, he's one of the gentlemen that I used when the whole thing came out with Sister Nefer and the Seventh-day Adventists. And he said they're still considered our sisters and brothers, but he went and he did more research. He made another video. He said he was going to pull that video out. And the video that he was going to pull out, the reason he was pulling it is because he did more studying into the foundations to Ella G. White. He went looking into Mrs. White and her prophecies and what she had to say. And, you know, we're always comparing it to Ephesians 2:8 and 9 and the finished work of Christ. And it seems like we have more and more people that are adding things to the gospel message, adding things to salvation. And with that, he actually pulled out, and he's saying that they're not our brothers and sisters, and the whole movement is a false cult movement. I'm going to talk about that great awakening, or should I say the great disappointment of back in the days, because a lot of cults came from the great disappointment. They started saying, well, Christ didn't come back. And the great disappointments in the 1800s when they started prophesying that Christ was coming back. And false prophecies spew false ministries. And this is why we say they're so dangerous when you start prophesying the end of the world and you're doing things that's diametrically opposed to the writ. Jesus said, no man knows the day or the hour. And we had people within the church that's been prophesying. We know he's going to come 88 reasons. He's going to come in 88. He's going to come in 2000. And this has been going on. they had something known as the Great Disappointment after 2 or 3 times these leading people like Mr. Miller, when he came home from jail, started prophesying that Christ was going to come. But it's so crazy because Miller, and they had a whole Millerite movement. Miller, after the Great Disappointment, when he prophesied Jesus was going to come and he thought he can calculate certain things and he saw that he was off, he fell back for the movement and died out in obscurity. But there's other people, part of the Millerite movement, they picked up and they ran with this thing. And they said, well, he didn't come back because there's something that we did that was wrong. And then some people started adding different things in. We got to start keeping the Sabbath, and that's going to make him come back. And that's where these other movements came in. And other people started from the same false prophecy. Some people started looking to reasons why he didn't come back. So they started adding other things on the scene, commandments and all type of other stuff. So we got to be careful. We got to look at those things. And I'm going to show people through timelines, through the Great Disappointment, through the false prophecy, through lies and false prophecies that other ministries were birthed, and those ministries or those denominations we would call today cults. We have to look into that, and how can cults be born from one thing? So that's why I would often ask people, if we go back 900 years, if we go back 700 years, do we have people running around here pushing put down pork, put down pork, put down pork? Do we have that 700 years ago on this planet? People that are believers on the Most High God, that's following the ways of God. Do we have them pushing certain things like we're seeing it today? A lot of what we're seeing today are birthed from cults, and we can trace all of that stuff. And we're going to discuss some more of that. I just wanted to drop this video, let y'all know I appreciate y'all support. I'm going to be going back to classes, just teaching, because everybody's not a teacher out here. There's a lot of people out here claiming that they're teachers, and they're coming on and they're saying simple, basic Bible things they don't understand. So we have to continue with the history of the Bible, the development of the Bible, how these things came around. How do people normally look at the scriptures? Does the Bible have contradictions in there, or are we reading the text wrong when some people are throwing out one scripture here and other people are holding on to another scripture? Clearly somebody is right and somebody is wrong. How are we taught to understand the scriptures, especially in light of dispensations? There's people that are out here and they're blending dispensations together. There's people out here and they're saying crazy things. The Bible can't be for Israelites alone. Abraham came on the scene in 1996, 1995 BCE. Spirituality was on this planet. The Bible records holy people, Enoch, on this planet prior to that. Prior to that, people had a relationship with God. We can go back to the story we all believe in, the story of Adam and Eve. God had relation with man. So there's confusion when people come out here and start trying to make the Bible for them. The Bible is for white people. The Bible is for black people. All of that stuff is wrong. And if your foundation is wrong, you're in trouble. So we're going to be discussing a whole bunch of that. Appreciate y'all support.